It's a little bit funky, but a little bit touchy. It's a little bit lefty, but now it's crazy. It's a little bit funky, but...
Well, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to episode 2 of the Muck Podcast. Hopefully you're all doing absolutely fantastic and you're keeping well, staying safe, and doing all the things you gotta be doing. This episode's going to be a bit different. We are recording this on the 14th of July, 2021. Actually, near enough fucking forgot the year there, because this year's properly slipped out from under my arse. Well, hopefully you're all doing fine. This episode's going to be a wee bit different. I'm not going to be like answering questions or anything. It's just mostly going to be me talking shit about literally everything and anything that comes to my head. And I drank a ton of Monsters, so I'm on a bit of like a fucking sugar buzz, which is probably just going to like fire off just pure and utter fucking nonsense out of my brain. But hopefully you're all doing well, and hopefully you fucking enjoy the time that you're going to spend listening to me talk shit. Everything's just been fucking boring lately. There's literally not too much going on. Seen England got beat in the finals for the Euros, which is absolutely funny as fuck. But obviously, like, the events that transpired after that is pretty fucked up. The way all them footballers and stuff were being treated, which I'm pretty sure you have all heard about infinite times over, which is just mad that it even happens. It's like it's proper. Like the best like equivalence to it is like when you're playing like CS:GO or something like that, and then like your fucking teammate, like the last guy in your team who's alive, everyone's like hyping him up down the mic and all, being like, "Yo lad, you got this, just fucking just defuse kid, just fucking get him," and then just the second it died, just everyone shouts on the mic, just being like, "Lad, you're fucking shit. I can't believe we put the entire faith of this match into you right now. It's an absolute fucking disgrace." But it's like brought up a lot of things, obviously to do with like racism, but like also online fucking anonymity that people have. People are all like talking about like, "Oh, everyone should have like an ID verification and stuff for the internet, and like you shouldn't be allowed to make accounts on these websites without it to keep people from like trolling and stuff," which is like all well and good, but I mean, for me personally, like, you could just fucking, well, obviously there's like when people take it too far, like trolls and stuff like that, it's a bit dodgy whenever like they start proper like invading your fucking life and all, but that's just like full on stalker behavior to the highest degree. But the fact that like people want this to go on with like everyone having their ID and having to answer all these questions online for it to be like full on public knowledge is proper dodgy, in my opinion. Like, I feel it's like a jump ahead, because the second you do that, like, it's like really funny because a lot of the people who I see talking about it are like the same people who go on about like, "Oh, I don't want the government knowing everything about me. I don't want them knowing all this. I don't want them knowing all that." But it just like completely fucking demolishes any sort of like freedom you have. Like, if you have like your ID attached to like literally everything, you'll never be able to like criticize really anything again without fucking fearing the repercussions of like, I don't know, if you work somewhere and then you put up on Facebook which like has your actual ID on it and you're like, "Man, I fucking hate this job's so shit." Like, your work will know exactly who that is because your ID will be attached to it, you know what I mean? Like, all these people who like fucking post stuff, anonymously because they don't want to lose their fucking jobs, like people whistleblowing about like dodgy practices happening in their work, are just gonna get completely and utterly thrown under the bus, which is like so strange. And as I said, it's even more strange that it's the people who always fucking follow all these conspiracy theories about their privacy being invaded are like signing this because people are fucking insulting them online. Which I was gonna say, like, it's pretty easy to avoid. You just like fucking don't look at it. But like, that's obviously easier said than done. But it is fucking, it's decent enough, easy enough to kind of avoid having to fucking deal with so many trolls. I actually heard my dad talking about it recently. Like, he was saying that he didn't want to use Twitter anymore because of just the amount of shit that he sees on it. And I asked him like who it is that he followed, and he was just naming all these people. And I'm like, that's exactly why you're seeing all this shit, and that's why like all these fucking social media platforms like depress you. Because if you follow like all these fucking idiots and stuff like that, you're obviously going to be seeing stuff that you don't want to see. And in a sense, maybe in this case, kind of ignorance is bliss in that sort of way, or like if you're not seeing it, you're not knowing about it. Because like on my Twitter, I just follow like other speedrunners and stuff like that. I don't really follow anyone in politics or any big names and to do with any particular fucking subject, because it's so like fragile as is. Like whenever you go on, like you can see things that upset you like so easily. Because I just see people all the time, who get like really upset, and then when I talk to them about it, I'm like, why? What was it? And they're like, oh, it's this person who I follow, and then they were talking about this particular subject I'm really uncomfortable with, and they always talk about it, and then I'm just kind of like, why do you follow them then? Just unfollow them. Like you don't need it that much, or even just like fucking take a break from it. Obviously, taking a break from social media is fucking easier said than done. Like even me, I fucking deleted my Facebook account, and then maybe every like 6 months or so I'll like reactivate it for 2 seconds to see what the story is, and then just like instantly fucking realize why it is that I don't want to be on it. But some people just fucking uh like put themselves in these environments and all that there, and feel like people should fucking cater their entire needs, when they're not even like directly talking to them. Like I fall victim to it, like the odd times that whenever I'm like on Twitter and stuff like that and slip through the fucking cracks about like a particular conversation, I just be looking at it and I'm like, why am I even reading this? Like, you find yourself getting to a point where you're almost like trying to annoy yourself, where like you'll see like one fucking dodgy comment that someone's saying, and then you'll look at it, and then you'll look at the replies, and then you'll look at the cunts who are replying to its accounts, and then the other things they say, and then you're just in like a fucking big massive downward spiral about like all the shit that you're reading about online. And to be fair, like with fucking COVID and the pandemic, you can't even really blame anyone for doing it, because everyone's just so fucking bored nowadays and just looking for something to do, which is probably why so many people are fucking arguing all the time on the internet, because they've got nothing else to be at. And people just create things they argue about for no fucking particular reason other than the fact that they are bored. I mean, I like spoke about it before, like even like my sense of fucking humor was just talking pure and utter shade, not saying anything bad or anything, just like talking pure shade, because I was literally that bored. So I can imagine that on a fucking global scale of all people sitting inside, having the internet at their disposal, being like, oh, fuck this, I'm gonna just say something really fucking silly or read something really silly, because there's literally nothing else to be doing. And it's like, a lot of people say, oh, it's like really dead easy to get off social media. It's like, yeah, man, I live off the grid. And it's just like, I mean, like a lot of people's friend groups and stuff like that revolve entirely around like social media and stuff and communication, which is why I would say like maybe fucking WhatsApp's like your best course of action if you were to go off the grid of sorts, if you were looking to get into communications with people. Because like with Facebook Messenger, you near enough have to have a Facebook account in order to fucking use the thing. And if you're like, yeah, I'm taking a break from social media, you're like closing yourself off from a lot of your friends and stuff like that, which is like really fucking bad. Which like a lot of people don't realize, like whenever like you have like your pals and stuff to talk to, obviously it's shit that like you're looking at social media and doing your own head in by saying a lot of the stuff. But if you like delete it and like get away from it, you're also like closing yourself off from your friends. Not necessarily in the sense where like your friends see everything that's going on in your life because you're posting on social media, but like using the fucking messaging services. And I mean, I don't really know fucking anyone who isn't on Facebook Messenger. Even people like who deactivate their Facebook account but not delete it are on Messenger. That's how I work. I mean, I haven't used my Facebook account in fucking ages. Aside from, I think the last time I was on it was like January or something like that. But whenever I would get upset or something like that, or I feel like maybe I needed a break from social media, like the first thing I'd fucking do would just be like delete the account, and then just realize that there's like no fucking way to talk to half your mates so many times, because it's not as if like we'll have fucking pigeons, floating about that we can like attach fucking letters to, and we're not really in a position to just like walk down to our friend's house at the minute and just start talking to people. So it's like really easy to kind of understand why people are getting so cooped up and frustrated over like every little thing nowadays, and it's fucking desperate just seeing it happen to so many people, including myself. Like my levels of boredom is like so fucking strange, or like I like so bored that like you just know that doing certain things just isn't gonna help it because you're just like, oh, you see the second I'm done doing that thing, I'm just gonna be bored again. So I may as well just be bored now. Which happens even like when it comes to streaming. Like a lot of the time, if I'm like not streaming, I'll be like, oh, I should stream because it like keeps me busy and like I enjoy it. And then I'm like, well, the second that I end stream, I'm gonna be like sitting doing nothing again. So I may as well just sit and do nothing now and utilize that time to do things that are important, like fucking wank and shit and do all stupid things that I could do literally any other time of the day. Um, but like it's getting to the point where it's like proper worrying for when everything like kind of goes back to normal again. Like there's definitely like so many different fucking friendships and stuff like that that people are going to be going through issues and stuff with because things people said over the lockdown and things people did simply because of the fact that they were bored, which isn't even the excuse like really bad behaviors that people were doing because there's obviously fuckers in the world that do stupid shit all the time. That's like interesting enough to see like how people are going to communicate. But from what I've seen, whenever like things ease up a bit and people are kind of or people are out and about and talking to each other, like you can kind of see that there are people struggling in ways to talk about things because not a lot has gone on in the past while. But that's just kind of fucking the way it is. But even like when it comes to like fucking using social media and stuff like that, I feel I don't even know why I'm actually like talking so much about this. It's just talking pure shit about literally anything. So I'm just kind of letting the train run here. But it's going to be like really interesting because I know there's like relationships and friendships and stuff that have fucking been demolished during this whole thing based on just different things going on with people and like easy frustration, getting easily frustrated at different things. Um, so I think whenever like the world kind of opens up again, we should try and like give people a bit of time to readjust and kind of understand that the fucking world is out there and everything that's going on the fucking internet like definitely isn't something that should be greatly affecting long time friendships just because we've went so long without seeing each other. You know what I mean? That's just kind of my 2 cents about it. But I like fucking I don't even know. Like there's just so much shit going on with different things. It's just fucking lost for words because basically everything has already been talked about. Like on streams recently, I've been just talking shit about literally everything and anything. Especially for some reason, fucking Tom Holland keeps getting brought up again, and why people are so interested to the fact that I'm not like a big fan of him. But these are just the kind of things that keep us fucking trucking and just talking shit about everything, which is just what you need to do. Like I feel like my greatest asset is just being able to talk shit all the time, and not necessarily being funny or anything like that, because you can talk shit and not be funny. Um, and you can be serious and also be fucking funny as well. But I don't know. I would say like streaming for me has definitely helped during this whole entire like pandemic because like whenever I'm just sitting in the house doing nothing all the time and I'm bored, like it's almost as if like fucking words and shit just start like building in my head, and I just need to like fucking spell them somehow. And because I didn't have fucking social media, there was nowhere to do it. And it's not as if I could like go out really or anything or like speak to people because obviously you're just trying to be careful with the people around you. So streaming ended up being a fucking really good thing for me personally when it came to all that. Um, you can obviously fucking phone people as well. I actually forgot that phone calls were actually a thing that still exists nowadays, which is pretty funny because like I would say I maybe have a phone call maybe like with a friend once a month or something like that, if even. Like you just never really phone anyone anymore because everyone's just fucking messaging each other on these wee apps. I sound like a fucking granda just saying that. These wee apps. But like it's actually like so easy to forget that you can fucking phone people. Um I mean like I would never actively go out of my way to fucking phone any cunt nowadays because I can just simply just text them and be like, yo, here, what's crack? Also, like phone calls are just so fucking awkward now as well. So it's got to the point where I just fucking don't even phone Chinese's whenever I'm ordering food. I just go on Just Eat and be like, oh, here, um, there's that fucking food that I want, lad. Just sort that out for us. And they're all just like reading this from a fucking receipt that they've printed out in the restaurant. It's actually like a fucking funny story. It's like part of the reason I use Just Eat is just so I don't have to talk to the restaurant and stuff like that, because it's just really awkward for me. And then one time I like fucking placed an order on Just Eat to avoid having to speak to someone, and they fucking phoned me right after it, and they were just like, they basically got me to fucking reread my entire order to them. I was just like, why didn't I just fucking phone these cunts in the first place? Like, they've actually actively went out of their way to make me fucking have to talk on the phone here. That's so fucking dodgy. And like, there's no fucking point in using your phone half the time whenever people ring it, because half the time it's like fucking scam phone calls. Whenever like I get scam phone calls, I just like talk normally for like a minute and then just start screaming down the phone, being like, ah, help me, and then just hang up, because that just like means they'll never call me again. Like one time though, I thought it was a scam caller. Like I was streaming and my phone like went like 4 different times, and I was like, why the fuck would a scammer phone me like 4 times in a row? So I thought there was something wrong. Like in the odd event that someone would actually ring my mobile. And then I answered it while I was streaming as well, and it was like some guy from like my college. He wasn't like in my class. He like worked for the college, and he's just like, "Hi, is this Andy?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Yo, we have a wee survey here, for like your experiences in the college. Do you want to like, do you have 5 minutes?" And I was like, "No, like I'm in the middle of fucking streaming." Or I didn't say I was streaming. I was like, "I'm in the middle of something like really important here." And he was like, "All right, no, that's okay." But yeah, so basically what the survey is, and I was like, lad, like I can't fucking talk, like I'm in the middle of something here, and he's like, oh right, no, that's no worries, that's no worries. But yeah, so like basically what it is, I just went like, lad, like fuck off, like I was like, lad, I actually can't talk, like I've said it twice, and he's like, oh okay, sorry. Yeah, so basically the survey, and he like ran through it really quickly, and I was like, all right, right. Sure, like, I don't want to do it. And he's like, are you sure you don't want to do it? And I was like, mate, I actually just don't want to fucking do a survey. Like, I don't want to have to, like, fucking come down to you and, like, fucking tell you face to face I don't want to do this here. And he was like, oh, no, it's okay. But sure, I'll ring you at 12 o'clock tomorrow, if that's okay. And then we can, like, I'll ask you again, do you want it? And I was like, lad, I really don't want to fucking do this. And he's like, all right, that's okay. It's okay. Thank you anyway. And then, like, he hung up. And then the next day at 12, I like forgot all about it, and they come phone me again. He was like, hi Andy, so it's about that wee survey. So basically what the survey is, I just went like, lad, split. Actually, stop fucking talking, just hung up the phone, and then never phoned me again. But it was like so weird. Like it was the equivalent of like the phone version of whenever someone comes to your door trying to sell you like electric or fucking sell you religion or whatever the fuck. Like they come to the door and then you answer it, and then they're like, are you interested in changing electric? And you're like, I don't own the house. And then they're like, oh, that's okay. So basically what we do here, and you're like, lad, do you actually think I want to fucking hear any of this? Like, I don't own this house. Do you think I know how to operate the fucking electric and like operate fucking electric bills or anything? If I'm not the one who like owns this place or like deals with all that stuff. And then they're just like explaining it to you. And then like in the back of my head, I'm trying to understand. It's like, oh, these boys must be like getting paid on commission or some shit like that. So like the longer they talk to you, like the more money they're getting paid or whatever the fuck. Whatever helps me sleep at night. Try and understand another human being who's in that position. And they'll just keep talking to you. And then when you finally like convince them that you don't want to talk to them, like my excuse is always just like, oh, lad, like my family aren't in. And then every single time it's so funny. They'll come to the door and they'll be like, I hear, so are you interested in changing electric provider? I'm like, oh, mate, like my family aren't in, and like I know for a fact they're not going to be interested. And he's like, oh, right, your family's not in. And then like you'll turn around and look at the car, and the car will be in the drive, and I just kind of be like trying to look at it, and then when he looks at me, like I'm kind of like ready to be like, oh no, that's my car. Like my family are just like, oh, like that's my car because I'm here. That's not even my fucking car. And then they'll just be like, oh sure, I can call back in a couple of hours. And I'm like, lad, no, like my family will not be interested in this. Like we've been offered fucking 20 times before. And then by that stage he's already fucking hooked me in. Next thing you know, my mum and dad come back from the fucking shop, or they come out of the living room, or they've been hiding and let me deal with them. And then I'd be like, yo mummy, I'm sorry, but we've changed electric providers here. Like I'm actually so fucking sorry that this has happened. Like swear to God, sometimes the proper grab you and like rip you in no matter what you say. Like these people are like fucking born and bred like con man. I swear to God, I like their training videos and must like stick on Wolf of Wall Street or some shit like that just to get them like fucking prepared. Like they just keep you talking and talking and talking. It's like they literally rewatch the scene when fucking Leonardo DiCaprio's on the phone with a guy and he's like trying to sell him the bonds or whatever the fuck, and they just like take this on stride and like go to everyone's door and just fucking like try and reel you in with anything. I just shouldn't be the one who goes to the fucking door half the time, but they always catch me off guard. It's always like when I sit down to dinner or something like that, and then like my dad's fucking mouth is like full of spaghetti, or my ma's eating something, and like my brother's like fucking not even in, and I'm like, oh fuck, guess I'm the one who has to go to the door then, and then I'll bounce up, go to the door, and then all of a sudden my fucking cost of like giving the guy the deed to the fucking house, and my man and dad are getting like lifted out of the front door by the fucking repossession companies. It's actually so mad, and like even with like COVID and stuff like that, it's so weird. Some of them just like never seem to give a fuck. Like even during the pandemic, like the fucking early stages of it when it was like lockdown, I remember like two of them coming to the door and I was literally taking it back. I was like, why are you cunts still doing this? Like why are you like at my fucking door, not wearing masks or anything? Or like fucking being up my grill, like trying to sell me some fucking, I don't even know, like I was saying electric, but this do all sorts of fucking shit. It's like, oh, here, there was one where they were like talking about like fucking drilling holes in your wall and filling it up with like wee balls for like insulation or some shit. And I was like, lad, I just don't give a fuck about this. Like, this is just not something you need to be talking to me about. But I like sometimes they just fucking get me into it. I remember there was one where it was like a religious thing that they came to my door, and fuck me, like the cunt had me sitting at the door for like it was, I was there for so long that I actually closed the front door and I was sitting at the front of the house with them because they were talking to me, and like at the end of it I was like, I'm actually really sorry, but I do not care about any of this. Like I was like, you've literally tricked me into fucking wasting an hour of my time, well not an hour but like half an hour of my time talking about this when I've like constantly said that then I was not interested. It was like some like religious thing, and the guy like came to the door and like caught me by surprise because he had like an American accent. I was like, all right. And then all of a sudden, his fucking son came out from behind him, and I'm not joking, like an 11-year-old or something like that. So I thought it was like a neighbor or something like that who I'd never seen before, and then I was like, I would definitely fucking know if there was an American neighbor living in my street, like. And he was just like talking about some like fucking version of the Bible. I don't know. It was like update 2.1 where they fucking removed Herobrine or something like that. But it was so strange when he was just talking to me about it, and it was almost as if he could tell that I wasn't interested, but took pleasure knowing that he was just fucking wasting my time. But I actually didn't even get that annoyed about it because his son started talking, um, and his son was actually really interesting because like they grew up in like the fucking, I think it was like Minnesota or something like that, and when then they moved to like fucking Canada for like 2 years, and then they came to where I live in Ireland, and we're just fucking going about trying to sell Bibles to people and all that shit, and they were just telling me about all the stuff they got up to, which I think was like the hook that they managed to fucking get me with in order just to keep me there and talk shit for fucking half an hour. Um, but it was proper funny. Like just at the end, I was like, lad, I don't know how you did it, but you've somehow like managed to have me sitting out the front of the house with the door closed. My family are in there watching the fucking chase or something like that, while I'm sitting out here like getting spoke to about like fucking God and the Bible and where this kid went to fucking summer school and all this stuff. And at the like I wasn't even like rude or anything. I was just like, I just really don't have the time for this. Like, and I'm not actually interested. I'm interested in like what I'm interested in you as people, not fucking what it is you're trying to sell. Because like that was like the fucking really weird thing about it. Was like everything he was talking about to do with the Bible, didn't give a fuck. But like his life and the life that he had with his fucking son was just like so engrossing to me that I was like, fuck, it's pretty mad. And then it made me be like, fuck, maybe if I got a Bible and stuff like that and started going around trying to sell it, maybe I could fucking move to Canada or America or wherever the fuck it was they were from. But it was just such a weird time to be um sitting outside the front of my house. And even like whenever I'm out in the city and stuff, you get different people who are like trying to fucking sell you different Bibles and religious texts all the time, and whenever they stop you, you're just like, lad, I do not want anything to do with this. Um, like my experiences of being stopped in the street are just so wacky and weird that some of them, like, you probably wouldn't even believe, or if you do believe, like, I'm actually fucking sorry that something similar probably happened to you. Like, Berlin, when I was in Berlin, that was when I had the weirdest experiences of being stopped in the street. Um, there was like someone who like stopped me and they were wanting me to sign a petition for deaf people, but I knew it was like I started signing it and then some cunt comes up behind me and sticks a fucking toe up my arse and then steals my wallet or something like that. So I was just like, nah, I'm not interested. And then like the proper were like the knew I knew something was up, like just by the way I was like getting on, like because they weren't talking to anyone else. They just seen me and my two friends and just knew that we were like fucking tourists. And that actually comes to the fucking other two stories in Berlin. Another one was a fucking clown. And I'm not saying like the guy was a fucking clown as in he was weird. He was dressed as a fucking clown and he would just follow me about. And it was honestly like, it was pretty funny because it was during that whole trend when cunts were dressing up as killer clowns and running about. Oh, I was in Berlin and he was like, I like walked past him and he grabbed my hand and then like stuck a balloon in my hand and then he started doing all his shit and I actually just said, I was like, lad, take that balloon out of my fucking hand, please. Like I'm not interested now. And then he started being like with his fucking hat and on, doing all mad shit, and I like turned around and started like walking away. I was like, I just don't care about this. And then he ran in front of me and on, he's taking his hat off and fucking pulling like poodle fucking balloons and all this shit. Like it was honestly something out of a fucking film. And I was just like, mate, please, like I'm just genuinely like not interested because we were trying to get to the train station at the time, because like we were trying to fucking go to like the other part of Berlin just to have a wee look around, and I just was like no, and then like, he held out his hat for money, and I was like, lad, I've literally told you the entire time that you were fucking doing this whole like charade that I wasn't interested, and I've tried to walk away, and now you've walked in front of me, so I ended up just walking away from him. And we got a train and we were walking about for hours and we were like at the zoo and stuff like that, and we were walking through a park, and this park you could get to you know, by getting the train to where we had gone to in Berlin. And we were walking through the park and I seen the same fucking clown in the park and I did everything I could to avoid the person. Like it was just it was such a weird one. And then the final one um was there was like a woman pushing a pram. This is actually a pretty funny story. I've told it on stream and stuff before. There was a woman pushing like a pram, and she definitely wasn't from Berlin. She was like, she was fucking from Romania, right? Because on the wee postcard thing, I'll get that postcard in a second. So I'd seen the pram, right? And I noticed the pram. I was like, that's one of them prams which cost like 1,000 quid. Because I'd seen the exact same pram, like, you know, like a baby stroller, um, in a shopping centre in Ireland. And I was like, who the because I remember, like, the reason I remembered it is because I remember seeing the pram in the shopping centre here and being like, who in their right fucking mind would pay £1,000 for like a baby stroller? Like, that's actually insane. Like, I could make one for like fucking £20. And so I'd like seen the stroller and I was like, that's pretty fucked up. Like, that I'm seeing this pram, like, like, because I just felt like I was fucking back in Ireland again. Next thing I know, the pram like fucking turned and started coming towards us. And I was like, oh shit, like maybe I'm gonna get like put in jail because I was like staring at someone's fucking baby unwillingly, like because I was like fascinated with this fucking £1,000 pram that I'd seen. And she came up and handed me like a postcard and it was laminated. And then like I like looked at it and then like I read the back of it and it said on it, it was like, my baby is very sick, please give me like €20 so I can like go to this place or do something else. And she didn't even say anything, like the woman who was pushing the pram, she like held out her hand like that, and like as if I had already agreed to the terms and conditions behind this fucking postcard that was laminated. I mean, like, it was pretty professional laminating the postcard, in my opinion. But I was looking at it and I was like, oh, my baby is sick, please give me €20 so I can do this and do that. And then I was just like, I just handed it back and just went, no. And like, she just took the fucking postcard and then like put it in her pocket and then put it in her hand again. And then all of a sudden there was a guy like behind me talking. I didn't realize he was talking to me. Um, and I turned around and then he like said something in German. And the only thing my friend like who was with me knew in German was how to say I don't speak German in German. So the guy was talking to me in German and I was just like, lad, I don't know, I like what you're saying. And then my mate had said to me, he's just like, we don't speak German. And then the guy was like on a bike and he went like, oh. And then like he was like this for like 2 seconds and then like he looked at her and then like he looked at the postcard and then like it was as if like fucking flicked the switch in his head where he was just like, oh, I know this cunt. And then he turned around and he just went, he's like, see her? He's like, she's a fucking scammer. And he's like, and then like, he said it pretty normal, like not really a German accent. He's like, he just said it in like such like a neutral way. I was like, don't like see her, like she's a scammer. And then just at the very end, he was like, do not give her any money. And then like he just bust out laughing. And he's like, scammer, scammer, and started pointing at her. And then like she started fucking squealing at him and all, being like what, why the fuck did you say that? Like, why are you doing this? Like, it's like, let me do my thing. And then he just started laughing. He like went away on the bike. And I just turned around. And at this stage, she'd already handed me back the postcard. And then I just went like, handed it there, and I was like, later, and just turned around and walked away. And it was just so, it was like, I'll never forget the guy's laugh. He just was like, it's like, do not give her any money. Like, I'm not joking, the closest laugh I can describe it to is like, you ever get the episode of Simpsons whenever like Homer's gold and he's like laughing, he's covered in jewels. He actually laughed like that as he was riding away on his bike, and I just properly looked at him and I was like, what a hero for fucking saving my life. Because like, even though I wasn't going to give her money, we would have been stuck in this fucking infinite loop of just me being like no and her being like money. And because I'm just too awkward half of the time to be like, nah, like just fuck off, like I'm not interested in this at all. Like, I mean, I'm pretty subtle about whenever I'm not interested in things like that. I'm just kind of like, nah, just fucking not my deal. Sorry, mate. Fucking, I don't do that and all this stuff. But that guy just fucking came in and saved the world by seeing three fucking tourists getting fucking scammed. And it was just so fucking funny whenever he just went away on his bag. And like the whole entire time I was in Berlin, it was just so fucking weird. Another time, like it wasn't like a scam or anything or anyone on the street. Thought a woman like who worked in a shop in the train station thought we were trying to steal cigars. Um, we were like in the cigar shop. No, it wasn't in a cigar shop, but like it was just like a normal newsagent's. But like in Germany, like they have cigars, so like fucking like in front of you. You know, it's not like in newsagents in fucking like England or Ireland or anything where if you ask for cigars or cigarettes, they'll have to like turn around to the thing behind them and open it. Like cigars and stuff are like sitting on on the fucking till and all that stuff, you know. So you're basically just like left them on and being like, can I get that as well? So there was like a box and it was filled with cigars, and we were like looking at them because we bought cigars the night before from like a different shop just literally down the road from it. And these ones were cheaper, but they were proper like fucking pure Scarface, Al Capone, fucking stogies, like Arnie tier cigars. So we were like interested in them. We were looking at them. None of us had even lifted our hand or anything to touch it, and it was in a box. It was in like like a fucking brown wooden box, and like the lid of it was like a pure like fucking Minecraft chest. And then we were looking at it, and she fucking like slammed it closed, and then started like pointing at us and being like, just like, I seen you like trying to steal that. And we were like, literally all of our hands were in our fucking pockets at this, like, because we were like so awkward looking at it. We were all like freshly turned fucking 18 kids on fucking holiday, you know, and we were all like so nervous and stuff about doing literally anything because we're in like a fucking different country. It was the first country I had ever been to, which was abroad. And we were all like kind of like sitting there like nervous, like our hands were pocket anyway. So that's probably why she fucking thought we were trying to steal something. But we were proper like confused. We were like, what the fuck are you talking about? And she was like, you tried to steal our cigar and all. And then she was like, get out of my shop. And then she was like pointing at like the security guard and all. And we were proper looking at her like, what the fuck are you talking about? It was so weird, but we just left. But like, she just looked crazy. Like, she actually looked insane. And that was like the second day we were there. And like, this newsagent was in the train station. So whenever we were getting the train to the airport, we actually walked past her shop, and she proper shot us like fucking daggers whenever we were walking past. Like, she'd just give us like such a dirty look, and I was just like, oh, that's just Germany for you here. But Germany was just such a mad holiday. Like, it's really strange because like you would think, because the two places I've been abroad is Germany and Amsterdam, right? So Berlin and Amsterdam. You would think like Amsterdam would be like filled with, you know, like people trying to stop you and fucking sell you and shit and doing all this stuff, but like there was more of it happening in fucking Germany than it did in Amsterdam. The only thing that was going on in Amsterdam of like nuisance tier of someone coming up and trying to like sell me stuff was fucking just drug dealers trying to sell me like cocaine and stuff, and I was just like, not interested, bro. Like, what the fuck? There's actually such like a funny thing that happened. I, I wish I could really kind of stand to show you. Anyone who's just listening, you might want to try and see the video for this part. But there was a guy. It was like really late at night, and we were walking down the canal because our like hotel was like on the canal, and there was this couple like sitting on a bench. I'm not even, it was like something out of a film. It was pure like, if you were to cast them in a film, it would be like background cute couple extra 1 and 2, because they were pure like all over each other, like lovey dovey and all, like holding each other, and like, I'm not even joking. I think if you looked hard enough, you probably would have seen a fucking heart materialize and float away in the air, or like Cupid or something fucking sniping them from a window, because that's just like how they were all over each other, and it was so funny. But there was this guy like who was standing, he was like walking in circles, and he had like his hands in his pockets, and he was like proper looking like this. And all he was like, giving it all that, like just being a fucking like being as fucking suspicious like as you could possibly be while trying not to look suspicious. And he was just walking in circles. And then like he just pretend that you're the fucking couple like sitting on the bench, and I'm walking towards you. So he like had his hands in his pockets, and he walked up and he's like this. And he just went like, okay. And then like the couple just went no. And then like the couple said no to him, and he just went like, and just like walked away. And it was just so fucking funny the way he did it. Like it was honestly like, you would have thought he was a fucking policeman, like trying to get caught, or trying to like bait someone into buying it, just the like way he did it, or he was like acting in some shitty film. It was just like, seeing it was just so wild. But like, in terms of like what I had seen whenever I was in Amsterdam, that was probably one of the funniest things. Like, there just wasn't a whole lot going on when I was there. Another funny thing was just like people who were like smoking weed and fucking, like throwing up after it and stuff like that, like because they couldn't fucking, I don't, like, we call it weigh-in, but I don't know what it would be called anywhere else. Like, there were just so many people like just throwing up and stuff like that, and then like even the ambulance that would pull up for some people were laughing at them, just being like, like you can't hack it. Like, there's no fucking way that, like, you can even like conjure up a fucking thought at this minute, son. And all just like pure like shaking them and all, being like, no way, kind of like something that like fucking mates would do to you if like you were in the same situation. And it was so fucking mad. Also, there was a gym in fucking Amsterdam, and I'll never forget it, because like one of the nights we were walking about and we were like really really lost, but like we weren't too far from the hotel, but like we, at this time of night, we had just decided to kind of like go and explore. Like, we had stayed on like a lot of the main streets and stuff like that, and then just like walk past all these different things. And then we're like, oh fuck it, like we'll go through like all the way like dodgy streets and all, just like to see what the crack is, see if there's anything mad going on. And like, we were pure walking in circles and ending up at the same building. It was like condomery. It was like a fucking literally a shop which is entirely based on condoms, and we would just somehow would always end up back here. Didn't know what was going on. I was convinced that we were in a time warp, because like, I'm not even joking. It would be like, right, we'll go to the end of the street, take a right, and then take a left, go straight, take a right and take a left, and somehow we would end up back in the condomery, and it would be the same one. Like, it was so fucking weird. So basically, like, one of the nights we were proper walking about and we hadn't a clue what we were doing. And like, I just remember the day we got there, we passed like a gym, and I thought it looked really weird. Like, there was like a video play. It was like, on the front of it, there was like a big massive screen, and then it was like advertising like gym prices or something like that. But when we were walking about lost like that night, I was just like, where the fuck are we? And then I seen that gym, and I'm not even joking, it looked like Global Gym from Dodgeball. Like, there was just like, it was proper like some guy on the screen and all, like pointing at people, like being, it's like you need to work out, and or like you can get a membership here, and like, like proper pointing at fucking people. And it was like a big screen pointing down at the people in the fucking street. And I just remember pissing myself laughing, because then after we seen that, we knew exactly where we were. I just kept calling it Global Gym. Like, anytime we would walk past it, I just picturing Ben Stiller being on the big screen, just pointing at people. It's like, is that better than you? Just, oh, it was such like a fucking funny thing, because like, we were genuinely lost. As well, like, fucking Amsterdam was just so strange when it came to the prices of things. Like, you'd go into like one shop, and then like a bottle of Coke would cost like fucking €4 or something like that, and water as well would have cost like fucking €4 or €5 in a lot of the shops. and we were proper searching for ages to try and like find a shop that was like close enough to the hotel, which was like reasonably priced, because we didn't want to be fucking paying €5 every time. I'm not even talking about a liter bottle as well of fucking water. I'm on about like a 500 ml or 750 ml bottle being like €5 in a lot of these places. And I remember we were walking down the street and there was like a shop and there was two fridges in the corner of the shop, but they were facing away from you. So it's like, imagine like the corner of the shop, and then like there's the back of a fridge, and then another back of the fridge, and there's a tiny gap between them, for you to go through, and then you're actually in the proper corner of the shop. Like they're not facing you. There was water bottles in there, and I'm on about like 2 liters, and they were like €2. I am like convinced that they were doing that purposely because they knew everyone would be too fucking stoned out to look for it. Like it's like some fucking con, because like I like had discovered it on accident. Like I had just seen the two fridges in the corner. And I'm like, why the fuck are they facing away from me? That's just so creepy. And then I knew that like you were allowed to go through it because there was like enough space for like a fucking human to pass through it. So I was like, oh, you can definitely like go behind that. And then there was like other drinks as well, which were like reasonably priced. And I was like, what the fuck? So we ended up buying like fucking 4 of these, like all 2 liters, because the where we were staying, it was a hotel slash hostel. So like on one side of the hotel, it was like hostel conditions where it's like fucking bunk beds and all, and then on the other side, it's like hotel rooms. We were staying in a hotel room, and then there was actually like a sign stuck to the fucking bathroom door because we had an ensuite, and it said you can drink the tap water, and then like a smiley face or something like that. But I did not trust that. Like, so we ended up like stocking up on water. But we paid fuck all on the Amsterdam as well. It was so cheap, and I was really surprised. I would say that like going to Amsterdam was like the most spontaneous thing I've ever done in my life, which is like shameful for me to say because like I never fucking do anything. Like I would say like the most spontaneous thing I've done in the past couple of years is like stream and just fucking do what I want when I'm talking on stream. But I remember like my friend was looking for holidays for like his mum's birthday, and he knew that she like going to Amsterdam, and then he seen like a deal, and it was like 3 room hotel flights for 2 nights in Amsterdam for like £150, and we were like, yeah. Or no, sorry. Well, before we get to that point, he texted me at like 3 a.m. and I was lying in bed, and then I woke up to the text, and then I read it, and I was like, "Do you want to go to Amsterdam next week?" Like, he texted me on the Saturday, and the flight would be that Friday, and I was like, I don't know, like, do I have enough money? And he was like, um, he's like, let me know in the morning. So like, I woke up at like 9, and I texted him. I was like, oh, fuck it, we'll go. And then I texted like our other mate, and I was like, you want to go to Amsterdam next week? And he's like, yeah. So by 11 o'clock, we had a fucking booked and paid for and all. And then that Friday, went to fucking Amsterdam. And it was proper, just, it was so strange. Like, it was like a nice feeling because like I'm not really uptight about some of the things that I do, but I like having a bit of like coordination and understanding because that's kind of the way I was when me and a different group of friends went to Berlin. Like I was very not fucking shit crack or anything like that, but I was like saying, I was like, right, so our train is at this time, that will get us here in time for our flight and all this stuff, you know, like I had everything like that sorted. Um, but like, and like going to Amsterdam, like the weight wasn't on me. I think it might have been because I was the one who suggested Berlin when we went that time, you know, so I've kind of felt a bit of a responsibility over everyone being like, oh, here, um, you know, fucking stick with me and stuff like that. And, you know, I'll keep everyone right and handle the money and stuff like that. Because I ended up handling the money as well. Like, I I have like a terrible tendency to like when I go on holiday, like not have bring enough money, but like it doesn't impact me that much as well. Like, but all my friends would bring like fucking scary amounts of money, and then like they'd want to do something which would cost like a lot of money, and then I'd be like, well, like I didn't, I was just kind of here, you know what I mean? Like we didn't like plan for this, you know. Like we would turn up somewhere, and then they would kind of want to be like, oh, like they would see something and they'd be like, oh fuck, we should do that, and it would cost like €100, and I'm like, I mean, like if you had a said before we actually came here and we knew we were doing it, you know, I would have brought enough money. Like I brought enough money to like do a couple of things, like do the zoo and all, like you know the main things we had talked about doing. So like this fucking thing, I don't think I could do it. But we ended up doing it anyway. I ended up getting the money sorted. But Berlin was just so fucking funny. Um, I actually have another funny story. I've told this story like twice in the past week because the person who's like involved in the story like was brought up in conversation recently, and just this always like would come to my mind. So like before we went to Berlin, we had like talked about going to like a shisha bar, like with flavored tobacco and stuff like that, and just like sitting at like a restaurant and just like smoking the shisha pipes. And we had spoke about it, and I was kind of like, I don't mind, like we can do it, but like we would need to look into like how much it's gonna be, or like do you need to book the restaurant and all this shit. So I'd said when we got there, my mate was like proper wanting to do it, like there and then, like the second we got into our hotel, and he's like, right, mommy, go find this fucking restaurant, mommy, find a restaurant and like get shisha pipes. And I was like, I like fucking chill out, like we got to the airport like fucking 4 in the morning and things, like everyone's busted because there was like four of us. So like we'll like chill out a wee bit, and then we'll go look about. So we were like we were like looking online and all, and it was like really confusing. Like the area we were in, like you couldn't really make sense. The only thing we knew was that there was a fucking Lidl shop around the corner from us, and that was about it. And we had already decided what we were actually doing on the first day anyway. Like we knew what we were doing, like where we were going. We were wanting to go to like this place called like Saturn, which was like a big tech shop which has all this cool shit in it. There's like a fucking Fallout Brotherhood of fucking steel statue and all this mad stuff, and like really expensive TVs and like fucking all this stuff. And like you get cool tech stores, kind of like where I live, but this was like fucking a big, massive place that we had wanted to see. And then there was a Lego store across the fucking road as well, and we don't have Lego stores here, so we just kind of wanted to go see that as well. But everywhere we were going, my mate was just sitting going, he's like, lad, mum, go to the shisha place, mum, go to the shisha place here. And like, everyone was kind of like, lad, I mean, we're here for like 5 days. Like, we can fit in the shisha place at some point. Like, don't worry about it. Like, we're doing this other stuff that we had spoke about, that we were going to do. And then he'd be like, oh, right. And then he would be talking about like, I mean, like, you can go do that, and then I just go around to the shisha place and all. Like, we were just proper like, you're fucking shisha in the head, mate. Like, there's something wrong with you. Like, why do you keep talking about this place? So uh the next day we had planned to like go on the train to go to like the other side of Berlin and do all stuff there. And then he was doing it again. He's like, "You're at shisha place, man, shisha place." We were just like, "Mate, you need to calm down." And then like while we were there, we knew where we were having dinner because it was like very close. It was like a burger place called like fucking Tommy's Burgers or something like that. It was fucking great. And he was like, "Oh lad, fucking €50, we can get a barbecue buffet." And then like we were all kind of looking at him, and we were like, "Lad, it's like, do we all look like we have fucking €50 like to spend on a buffet when we know we're having dinner in like an hour here, like on the other side of Berlin, which we have to go and get a train for here now?" And he was like, right, no worries, no worries, no worries. So like I proper felt grim. It felt like I was the one who was like destroying his dreams, because like we had all like agreed anyway what we were doing, but he's just like a fucking wild card and he wanted to do whatever he wanted, which is like fair enough to him. He paid for the fucking holiday, but it was funny. Like it wasn't like annoying or anything. We would laugh about it. Like we were just like, fuck me, lad, like calm down, like with time. And basically, like I was looking at like shisha places, trying to see where one was close, like to the hotel, while we were all doing like different things, because I wanted to go as well. I wanted to have a wee look at it, but I wasn't like in such a fucking rush where I was like willing to drop things that we'd already planned. So I think it was like the second last day. My mate was like, right, we going to a shisha place or what? And I was like, right, fuck it, like we'll go today then, because we're not really doing anything. Because this day like was the day after we had went on this big fuck off journey. Like we literally left at like 9 in the morning, like from the hotel to the other side of Berlin, and we were back at like 11 at night because we'd just been walking all day. And everyone was busted, so like everyone was like slept in. It was like fucking like 3 in the afternoon or something. So when we got up, everyone got ready, and then we were like, right, well we'll go to a shisha place, because he just kept going on about it. He's like, lad, mama go, mama go, mama go. So we went, and we got to the place, and it was literally like across the street from that fucking Lidl, which was around the corner. So like, for me looking at the maps and stuff like that, it didn't appear, but we managed to get it. And another wee funny thing, I got ID'd at the door, and the guy who was like IDing me couldn't count, so he didn't know what age I was, and I had to count for him. And I felt really awful. Like he was like, "Do you have ID?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then give him it, and he looked at it, and he's like, "I'm really sorry, but I can't count." And I was probably like, is he like joking with me or like taking a piss? And then I was like, all right, man, no, so I was born this year. How many years has it been since that? It's like 18, so I'm 18, so I'm going here. And he's just like, oh, right, no, it's fine, it's fine. He's like, thank you very much. And it's just like, bad. So we got into the place and fucking paid, I think it was like €30 for like a shisha. But like, it's not just like the second you're done smoking it to take it away and not you done with it. Like, you're able to sit all day. It's like €30 and you sit all day if you want. So there was four of us, so like we got two, so we all chipped in €15 each, and we got like two shishas just to kind of like sip on each side, and we got two different flavors. And the guy who like kept talking about wanting to go to the shisha place took like, I'm not even joking, he took like 4 draws of it or something like that, and then he was like sitting on like the seat like this for ages. He was like, and I was kind of looking at him. I was like, lad, like, you're the one who wanted to come here. I was like, you're not even gonna smoke this. Like, you're not gonna smoke like the fucking apple flavored tobacco, which is gonna kill us here. And he was just kind of sitting there like, and then 2 seconds there, he just goes, I'm gonna go to the toilet here, and like stood up and like went out. And this place was like in darkness as well. Like, it was so weird. It was like the middle of the fucking day, so about like 4, like 5, like, so the sun in the middle of the summer, so the sun would be like fucking high in the sky. But inside this place was like a fucking dingy den. Like, you're sitting there and you can barely see like 2 feet in fucking front of you. Like, I'm not even joking. There would be like people coming up. If someone came up and asked you like what you were ordering, because it was a restaurant as well, we'd be like, I just get us like a bottle of Coke or something, or like a glass of Coke. Like, there would be like fucking silhouettes coming out of the darkness with like tins and bottles of fucking Coke and setting it on the table and just vanishing into the darkness again. Like, we were laughing at it. Like, we were like, fuck me. Like, if there's a place where like you're gonna get fucking stabbed, like you could get stabbed and turn around, you wouldn't even know who did it because you can't see 2 feet in front of you. So basically, we were like sitting there, and like half an hour passed, and I was like wondering where our mate had gone to. We were like, where is he? Like, what the fuck's going on? And we were like joking, and I was like, do you reckon he like went to an our shisha bar, like, cause like he's like too cool for us to smoke? And we were like so fucking confused on what was going on, and then like we actually started getting worried about him. We were like, is he all right? Like, what's going on? And then I was like, sure, we'll give it like an hour, 15 minutes, because he might be having a shade or something like that. You know, he just said he's taking a piss to avoid the embarrassment. And we were sitting there, and I was just like, right, fuck this, I'm ringing him. So I phoned him, and then like he answered, and he proper sounded like groggy, and I was like, yo lad, like, what happened? He's like, yo lad, I'm back in the hotel. And I was like, why? And he's like, lad, I took 2 draws out and I got a nicotine rush and I just felt sick, so I went home. He's like, I went back to the hotel, had a shed, had a shower, and I'm in bed here. And I just bust out laughing on the phone. And I was just like, fuck me, like, he's been going on about this for fucking days, and like took literally 2 draws of a fucking shisha pipe, and he's comatose in the fucking hotel. And we'd all just started laughing, because we'd been sitting there for over like an hour now, and he wasn't there for fucking like 3/4 of it. But like, we sat there for like an hour, half an hour, and then like split back, and he was just lying in bed like watching fucking Green Lantern in German on the fucking TV up on the wall. Um, it was like a really funny experience. Uh, Fucking Berlin was just so strange. Another thing about like the hotel we were staying in, the internet was kept, so it was, which they didn't tell you. Like, whenever we were booking it, it said like internet, like free internet and all, and apparently it was like really good internet, fucking quote unquote. And then when we turned up and checked into the hotel, like, we had everything. We had like our keys and stuff like that, and then like the slid a fucking bit of paper across like the table, and then we looked at it and it said like internet on it, and it had like a fucking digit code on it. Um, and we kind of looked at each other and we were like, what the fuck? And like, there was four of us, and he'd give us one sheet, and it said on it was like 100 MB of internet. And we were like, right, so 4 people are going to connect to this and use 100 MB of internet. That's going to go out in like 2 seconds. And we were just kind of like, what the fuck? And he's like, yeah, so that you get like 100 MB of internet. And we were just like, right, whatever. And we like used it. I'm not joking, in 5 minutes it was done. And so what we did was that we waited until the person at like the desk, like the check-in desk, changed, and then we got like 4 of us like to go up individually to say like, oh, like, we got told to like come around later for like the internet like passcode things, like, because they give you like a page and then a unique code each page. And we like went up like individually being like, oh, here, like we got told we need to come back to get like internet pages, whatever the fuck they were called. And then like 4 of us got one each. And then we went up again about like an hour later and we're like, oh yeah, that code didn't work. Can we get another one? Got another one. Waited for the person to change again on the fucking desk and did it again. So we had like fucking 800 megabytes of fucking internet to use. And one of my mates had then realised that he didn't fucking need it because he had like unlimited data with his phone plan. And then we got like more of them, but it was actual like fucking gulag tier. Like we were all just like going through it in like 2 seconds. And the worst thing about it was there was a cap on the amount of people who could be on it at a time. So like, see, during the night, you couldn't get on the internet at all. But like during the day when people are out of the hotel rooms and stuff like that, then you could get onto it because there's like a limit of like fucking 20 people or something that could be on it at the one time. Which was like completely useless because you only had a fucking 100 megabytes. You could watch like a YouTube ad and then you would run out. But it was terrible for that. Like the rooms were really nice, so they were like really compact. Like fucking, I'm not even joking. The only way I could describe it would be like, you ever get one of them like really compact apartments in like Japan where it's like the fucking like kitchen, bathroom, fucking bedroom all in one, or like not even Japan, like a fucking a €3,000 apartment that would cost you in Dublin, basically one of them. But it was really nicely done. And then there was a TV mounted up in the wall in the corner which had like an extendo arm where you could like fucking move it about and stuff. But it was just such a weird holiday, just with the amount of like different things that were going on, and we were laughing at different shit that was happening on it. But like, if I had to pick between like whether I would go back to Amsterdam or go back to Berlin, I would definitely go back to Berlin because Berlin was better cracked overall. Amsterdam was fun and shit like that, like I mean, but I feel personally like the novelty of it like wears off after like a day. You could see if they offered like flights for like a day trip to Amsterdam, I would say it would do a lot better than fucking staying there for a load of days, in my opinion, or even just for me. Like if that was an available option, if I was ever to go to Amsterdam, I would do it like that. I would go for a day and then come back, like go really early in the day and then come back late at night. But Berlin just overall is just like a really nice city, and even though there was fucking clowns and women's with fucking £1,000 prams trying to scam me, like I thought it was funny as shit. Also, that was when I fucking discovered I had IBS, which is pretty fucked up. Cause I like ate like a fucking donut from like Dunkin' Donuts or something like that, and it near killed me. Like I was in agony, and then I went to the doctors whenever I got home, and they're like, "Yeah, you've like really bad IBS," and I was like, bastards. But great place. Definitely 110% would recommend to anyone who would fucking want to go. Really, actually, sorry, one more thing about Berlin. Really weird thing. A guy who like was in my fucking college was in Berlin at the same time I was, and I'd never met him before. But the weird thing about it was like, see, when I was in Berlin, I seen him, and I'd never seen him before, met him before. But we actually looked at each other, like we knew like I don't even know what it was. There was like a fucking weird spiritual vibe or something that came off both of us, but we just knew we were both from Ireland. Like we looked at each other and we were like, it's like, that cunt's Irish. Like he definitely like lives like somewhere in Ireland, and like we were looking at each other and it was like really fucking weird. I'd never seen him before, and then fucking when I started college, like I'm not even joking, it was our first day and I was like sitting in it and we were meeting everyone in our class and the cunt was there in my fucking class. Weirdest thing ever. And like I went up to him and I was like, lad, like, didn't I see you in Berlin? And he was like, yeah. Like I seen you in Berlin as well. It's like, how fucking weird is that? And we were like looking at each other as if like we knew each other. Fuck me. That's actually like something that completely went out of my head for fucking ages that happened. Like it was so weird. There was like a Hard Rock cafe and then like he was coming out of it as I was going and we looked at each other and it was like, something about this cunt. Like there was just something about it. Didn't hear him speak. Like neither of us spoke or said anything. We just looked at each other and like, it was proper like, and he was more like, he looks like he'd be from Ireland. And then he was looking at me and it was like we caught eyes at the fucking exact same time. We didn't fuck, by the way. I like it was fucking such like an odd experience, and I just remember seeing him in class, and it was so funny as well because we had to give like it was like an introductory kind of thing in our class. It was like tell us something interesting about yourselves, and both of our one was like I seen that cunt in Berlin and I didn't even know who he was, and like we looked at each other like so weird, such a fucking weird thing. I can't even believe that I actually forgot about that until now. But I just remember like sitting there because we're all like around in a circle, and I just looked and I was like, is this con like, is this like the Truman Show or something? Is this con following me? Like, is this what my life's fucking turned to? It's like of all the places in the world I could have been on, like all the fucking dates that I could have went, I seen that cunt, and he was in my fucking college class like 2 months later. Like we ended up being in the same class. Actually, mind blowing. Another thing, just I know I've went on about this fucking holiday thing for so goddamn long. You're probably wondering why the fuck I even did this. Um, in fucking Amsterdam, like there are more Irish people in Amsterdam than there is fucking people from the fucking Amsterdam. Like I'm not even joking. See if you were like standing in Amsterdam and you're like, see if you're an Irish person, you're standing in Amsterdam. See if you close your eyes and hear like four different people speak, you would actually think you're like back in Ireland. I don't know what it is. I think there's like some secret fucking migration thing going on where like it's like a fucking foreign exchange student thing where like everybody who lives in Amsterdam is moving to Ireland and everyone in Ireland's moving to Amsterdam. I see more Celtic tops than fucking anything. And like people wearing GAA gear, people just talking like in Irish and fucking Irish accents. Absolutely so weird. Like, because I remember just joking about it. I just, there was someone in front of us walking, and then like they said something, and I turned around and I was just like, I probably know this cunt. Like, like this cunt probably lives down the fucking street from me. Like, uh, and then like I think even then the Berlin thing had kind of like clicked in my head where I was like, fuck, there's people from fucking Ireland everywhere now. We're pure like getting our roots deep. I love how this podcast went from fucking me talking about social media and like the dangers of it and how people need to like communicate or like messages to me talking about Berlin clowns, proms, seeing people who like I would end up knowing in the future and fucking restaurants and shisha pipes and people taking shits in fucking hotels and all this nonsense. I mean, like I'd fully intended this podcast to be like a serious kind of like talking about different things, which I mean, like I could picture a lot of people who listened to the start of the podcast probably got disinterested in what I was saying about them things and haven't even made it this far to when I'm talking about fucking holidays and some of the weird shit that I've seen. But it's just kind of the fucking way of it. But it was fucking those holidays are class, and I can't wait just for kind of the world to open up again at some stage, hopefully in the future, to maybe try and plan on going on another holiday. Like I just don't really travel too far, and it's like upsetting to a degree because like even within my own country, like I don't really travel too much. Like I don't drive or really anything. Like I want to just travel around Ireland and stuff like that. Even just like bus it and train it about like just to kind of get a fucking feel. But I'm like me as a person, I'm just like really fucking like calculated about everything, and it's like for the worse because I like mostly think about all the things that could go wrong. It's like I was planning on going down to fucking like deep down south of fucking Ireland. And then like I really want to go. I am gonna go in the next wee while. But like I'm the second I like conjure up the fucking thought of doing it, I'm just thinking everything that could go wrong. I'm like, fuck, maybe if I get the bus down here, then I'll miss my train. What if I fucking miss the train and then I can't get the bus? And how the fuck would I get home and all if I can't do this and do that? And it's like a fucking cycle that I need to break out of. Cause like it applies to like pretty much everything in my life where I just like think about all like the worst possible outcomes. Even like when it comes to like fucking speaking to people. Um where like I just think about like the worst outcomes that could actually happen. Like the second I interact with them, I'm like, oh, this fucking cunt's probably just gonna stab me or something or some shit like that because of a very stabbable face apparently. But I like it's something that I need to like break out. That is the main reason I enjoyed Amsterdam. You're all probably thinking I was fucking doing blowing fucking hookers and doing all sorts of shit, but no. The main thing that like I really did enjoy about Amsterdam was just because it was like one of the most spontaneous things that I'd ever done after being someone who was like so overthinks everything, and everything has to be like perfect and all this stuff. Because I get to the point where it's like, if it's not like perfect on the way that I need it to be, then I just shouldn't do it at all. Which even applies to streaming. Like, I feel there's times where I'm like, this isn't as good as it could be, or as it should be, or as like not as good as it's capable of being. So I'd just rather not do it at all. But that's just how it goes. But I'm fucking not at the age where I can't fucking reverse it. So I'm sure like loads of other people feel it as well when they're doing literally anything. Like, they feel like they're fucking at a very strange crossroads about like whether or not they're gonna like take the fucking leap, do things. For me, it's like very odd because it sounds like I'm making excuses for the reasons that I don't do these things, but I have like very bad experiences of me not wanting to do something and then being like encouraged to do it and then it going wrong, and not necessarily in my own fault. You know, like, I'm sure you all have like friends and stuff like that. It's not even like my fucking friend's fault. It's my fault, or like the person or the other person involved's fault. Where you're like, nah, I don't want to do this, and then your friend's like, why? Like, what's the worst that could happen? And then you tell them what's the worst that can happen, and they're like, well, then don't do that. And then you're like, nah, but I don't want to do it anyway. I just don't want to do it. And then like the fucking finally convince you to do it, and then it goes wrong. I have like a lot of that's happened, which is very weird. So like it puts me off like being spontaneous. Um, but like Amsterdam is like a very good example of something spontaneous being good. And then like I've tried it at like different phases and stuff like that. I'm like slowly and surely like inching my way out of that mindset where like I'm afraid of doing anything spontaneous in case it all just goes tits up on me. Like, there's been times where like I'm like out on a night out and I'm about to leave, and then I'm like, why am I leaving? And then I'm just like, fuck this, like, be spontaneous, just go with the flow and enjoy yourself, and then I'll go out and fucking let rip on what it is that's happening, try and enjoy myself, but things just kind of go a bit weird. But fucking any future advice for everyone, you shouldn't let that shit fucking define you. Like, I mean, I'm at a fucking age where like I get myself into these like really weird situations and like pits of fuck me, like I feel like my life's over. That like everything's behind me already when I'm like not even at an age where everything's even fucking opened up or started for me. Like, things are only starting to open up, like the avenues of my life. And it's like really easy to fall in that mindset. So whenever I'm in the mindset that I am now, when I'm like actively, openly understanding, whenever like I'm looking at like the pits that I get myself into, like subjectively, I'm like looking at them and being like, oh, like I'm in this way because of this. Easier said than done. Just fucking try not to let a lot of shit that goes on. Um, a lot of bad things like basically decide like your fucking entire future for you. I do it all the fucking time, and I'm bad for it. But I feel like a good part of it is the fact that I'm actually aware of it. I say that now, but then like I'll probably fucking, I don't know, burn toast, and then I'll blame myself until I'm on my deathbed and tell my child where I'm like, son, I just burnt that fucking whack of toast. I'm sorry. And it's like, what toast? And I was like, doesn't even matter. Just fucking flip the heartbeat machine off and fucking flatline off that. He's like, Dad, what toast? What toast? Aye. But just fucking, I know I've like kind of taken a wee bit of a turn talking about holidays, but just fucking try not to let every little thing that goes wrong fucking define like your entire future, because like you'll just realize none of it has fucking anything to do with anything else. Like, if I like fucking if I was like building something like an IKEA, a bit of fucking furniture and a bit of it broke, I'd be like, oh, then I can't fucking, I can't like, I can't go out and drink because in case, what if my fucking brain snaps like a bit of wood? You know, just like that. I'd just fucking go full on nuclear mode for it. But being aware of it's already a good start on how you should be fucking going forward towards dealing with it overall as well. But I like just fucking dealing with things like overall can just be like a really weird rocky process. Um, I'm terrible for it, like, when it comes to like how I handle things. Like, I'm just like a serial fucking bridge burner because I just like see everything as fucking going downhill and very rarely see it as like the way it actually is. You know, like I'm just like very like easily able to tune out hope, and then when I'm in like a fucking different mindset of like calmness of sorts, I'm very aware that I'm doing it. Like, oh fuck, just even like thinking about it now, just some of the things that like go through my head. Like, see, whenever I'm like angry and upset and stuff like that, I'll never fucking like lash out in a fucking sheer anger way like towards people. Like I am angry, but like in to myself, or like maybe like I'll tell a friend that I'm angry, not at them, but about a particular situation. But that's what I'm saying. Like it's fucking such like an up and down thing for everyone. Like um, the best thing you can do is just kind of be aware of it. But then like you feel silly whenever like you fall into it, even though like it's like, oh, once this is all over, I'm just like not gonna give a fuck about this anymore. But I do give a fuck about it right now, and don't let fucking people uh make you feel as if like you're not right to feel that way at that particular time, because you feel what you feel. I like um hate kind of like talking about how I feel about different things. Like right now I'm like kind of talking about how I feel because like I'm just kind of like on a bit of a fucking good groove here, but I hate like fucking talking about how you feel and then people telling you that like you feel that way because of a particular way. It's like, no. Or like I like was thinking about it too much and I end up just kind of losing track of what I was trying to say there. It's like really easy to be like undermined about how you feel. Like some people, whenever like you're expressing like your concerns about things, some people take it too personal, as if like it's about them. Like a lot of the time, I get that with people whenever I'm talking about like a general situation going on. People think I'm talking directly about them, so like they'll use like methods and stuff like that to kind of like play their own innocence when I'm not like looking for that from them. I'm just looking for like a general like fucking bit of information or like a bit of comfort in situations, you know what I mean? Um like it's just all like kind of dependent on what I'm saying when I'm talking to them. Like a lot of the time it's really fucking take it personal, which is like grim because it's not what my intention is at all. But I like it just fucking realize that even like whenever you're fucking in them like really really bad moods and stuff like that, and you say things that you necessarily don't mean, it fucking you might not mean it, but like it's important that like you did feel that way at a particular time. So like be aware of it and fucking use it as a means to get better, and fucking always be aware that maybe like that thing that you said that you didn't mean, it's something that could be worked on in like the background. I know it doesn't make much sense. I'm trying to like make sense of it myself. But I this fucking podcast has been like all of a show. It's just me talking a lot of shit about myself and not really any particular topics. But that's kind of what I planned for this one. I didn't have questions or anything. I need to like think of different topics because it's like it is just me talking shit about everything and anything. But some people tend to enjoy some of the shit that I talk, so I appreciate it fucking big time. But we are going to end it there. So we are. Thank you very, very much for watching. This was the Muck Podcast, episode 2. People enjoy it. Make sure you like and subscribe and tell your pals about it. Watch my other YouTube gaming videos. If you prefer that kind of stuff, just let me know and I can fucking nip this in the bud before it gets out of hand. And next thing you know, I'm gonna be on fucking podcast crying my eyes out about like, I don't know, Cadbury fucking chocolate bar that melted in my pocket when I was like 5. But yeah, that's episode 2. Hopefully you all enjoyed. Have a fucking class wee time. Look after yourself. Look after your fucking head. Make sure everything's going alright. Have a fucking blessed one. And stay safe, everyone. Have a fucking good one. Bye.